We take one of our bags and the first thing we do is cut it on one side and the bottom so we can open it and thus cut it across the width of the bag, and it will cost us less work. We are going to need 4 strips 2 centimeters wide by 20 centimeters long and another 4 strips 2 centimeters wide by 15 centimeters long, and finally a piece 2 centimeters wide by 5 long. We start cutting the strips, and don't worry if you don't cut them perfectly straight. This won't matter as we put together the bow. In this case, in this bag, I am guided by the letters, but it still doesn't turn out perfect. But I repeat, don't worry, because once it is put together you won't notice much of a difference. Since we have our strips cut the size I told you, we take the largest ones and begin to fold all of them in half. Since we finished folding the large ones, we do exactly the same with the smaller ones until we have them all folded, but without including the smallest strip. We leave this one as it is. Since we finish folding them, we proceed to initially glue the smallest piece and make a kind of ring around our finger, so that this is the central part of our bow. Be very careful when gluing it since the silicone is very hot and can burn you. Since we did this, we start gluing the corners to the center of each strip so that it looks more or less like a figure 8 or a tie, whichever is easier for you to understand, as you can see in the video. Remember to be very careful when doing it because, as I mentioned before, the silicone is very hot. So just put a drop, and it has to be more or less as I show you on the screen. Remember that it does not have to be exact since this will be lost when assembling the entire bow. So do not worry if it is not completely straight or even. We do the same with all the strips, both large and small, and since we have them all in the shape of a tie or figure 8, we begin assembling the bow. We take one of the large strip ties and put a little dot of silicone in the middle of it, and stick another of the large ones making a cross. Once glued, we put another drop of silicone on this same one and stick another of the strips across again until the last of the large ones is glued. We do exactly the same with the medium strips until they are all glued. Here we will see the shape that the bow begins to take, and as you can see, although not all the strips are cut exactly or evenly, you really can't tell the difference since they are interspersed with each one of them. Now that all the strips are perfectly glued, we put another drop of silicone in the middle and up to the top, and we stick the little piece that looked like a ring so that it remains as the central part of our bow. Since we finished, it should look something like this, and as you can see, it looks very good and very original, since depending on the bag you have or are given, they can be very cool colors, and it will even look like you bought those bows in a store or had them wrapped in a specialized place. Below I will show you how it looks with other types of bags and also with paper. You can also do this with paper, whether it be leftover wrapping paper from a gift, newspaper, or in this case a brochure that I got from a phone company, and as you can see, it's done the same way. As you can see, with plastic or paper bags you can make bows that look great, and as I always tell you, this is just advice, but you can do it much better.